up, y'all? On the beach. When I'm recording this video, I think I have like 36 subscribers or something. I tripled in subscribers after my last video, so to all the new people that are here, I love y'all. Hope you stay. Whatever, bro. I keep looking around me because I'm on the beach right now and there's people walking by me and stuff, so I feel like self-conscious about talking to the camera, but we're gonna power through anyways, guys. That's the name of the game. I wanted to share some of my thoughts about juxtaposition in art. I think juxtaposition is a tool that a lot of artists unintentionally use to their advantage, and maybe it's their intuition that's serving them in that regard. But so basically, you know, as an artist, I think a lot about like how my work is going to be perceived. And one thing that I've noticed is like I can play a song for someone in a certain context. I mean, this literally happened before where I've like played a song for someone and they haven't really like cared for it much. It kind of went in one ear, out the other, wasn't super impressive. And then different setting, different like conversation prior to sharing the song with them, different just general context, and I'll play them the exact same song and they'll love it. That means something to me, right? Because it's like, I think as artists we can look at things in a binary way, especially with these vanity metrics, right? I got more likes on this post, I got more streams on this song, therefore like it's received better by the fans like it. But a lot of that doesn't have to do with the actual song itself, right? And this isn't news to anyone. It could be with like how you released it, right? Again, context. I just think it's important. Like as someone who makes art and releases art, I have to be conscious of the context, the branding, how I look when I'm presenting it. Because again, it's not just up to the song in terms of whether people are gonna like it or not. Through understanding that process, I've become fascinated by kind of manipulating people's perception and kind of like manipulating and doctoring all the elements around the release to make the release itself be received better. And one thing that I've found, one of the most powerful tools when it comes to controlling people's perception of your art is juxtaposition, okay? So this is, again, I think this is really important for all artists out there, is how do you juxtapose yourself? And in other words, like how do you make yourself stand out? So the word juxtaposition means essentially contrast, right? Like SZA puts out, you know, R&B songs exclusively, has an incredible voice, and then boom, puts out a rap song. Okay, that rap song juxtaposes the rest of her discography. That is so sick. That makes it be received well. Like, I don't know about y'all, but when I hear, like when I listened to SOS and I heard SZA rap on Smoking on My X-Pac, I was like, okay, this is the craziest shit I've ever heard. Now, why is that, right? Because, bro, there's a lot of people that rap, and to be candid, there's a lot of people that rap better than SZA. And like, if Action Bronson drops a crazy song with The Alchemist tomorrow, I'm gonna bump it, bro. Don't get me wrong. I'm a stan, right? But it's not gonna be like this thing where it blows my mind and it's like, oh, what the fuck is happening, right? Like it was when SZA was rapping. And Action Bronson will probably release a song that's better rapping than what SZA did. But the SZA thing is more impressive to me because it juxtaposes everything that she had previously done. So there's this cool air of like, oh man, like get you a man, get you a woman that can do both, right? Like she can sing and she can do the rap. I mean, Earl Sweatshirt, right? When he, on his new album, Live, Laugh, Love, when he sings on Tourmaline or whatever it is, it's like, oh, bro, like, that's so sick to me. And he's, like, not a great singer, but it's so sick that he's singing because it juxtaposes all the rap. A great example, bro, is, like, Kendrick and Baby Keem. What was it, Range Brothers? When Range Brothers dropped, right? And first of all, it's crazy because, like, Dot's on a song with Keem. What's happening, you know? But also it's crazy because, like, top of the morning, you know what I mean? Like, brother, like the weird inflections, the silliness, it juxtaposes Kendrick's like heavily serious, you you know what I mean, message-filled, metaphor-filled discography. So when he's letting loose, when he's having fun, we're like, oh, this is so sick because it's Kendrick. And I could go on all day. Future is a great example to me. Like when Future says something that's like really profound in a song, or when Future is rapping about like his friend that died on fentanyl or something, and it's like heart-wrenching. It's not heart-wrenching because Future has this way of describing the sadness that no one else does, right? It's heart-wrenching because it's fucking Future. It's the guy who's always rapping about sex, money, and drugs that is finally having a moment of like sobriety, and all he can say is like, man, I'm feeling sad, I lost my dog to fentanyl or whatever. And that shit like hits me in the heart so much because it juxtaposes everything else that Future does. He's so cool, he's so nonchalant. So when he finally like opens up, talks about something sad, whatever, it hits. Juxtaposition. The work surrounding your work is what makes something unique versus not unique. So this concept of being unique has an implicit comparison involved, right? So if I'm unique, inherently that means that in the context of other people, I'm different than them, right? So me being unique is not just dependent on me. A song being unique, a song being good is not just dependent on the song. It's dependent on the things surrounding that song and how they contrast, right? Have you ever like listened to a single in the lead up of an album and loved it, and then not loved the whole album, and then the single kind of falls off in your mind because the shit that surrounded it didn't bolster it up? Or the opposite, a single comes out for a project and the single isn't, you're not really a huge fan of it, and then it grows on you in the context of the project, right? So again, in order for something to be unique, implicitly, inherently, that means compared to the things around it, it is different. So you have to have things around it. You have to not only be worried about the actual source, the actual piece of content, the actual project, but you have to be considering its context if you want it to stand out. This isn't some message about like how to like get more views on Instagram or whatever. This is just for people who care about making good art and want to like have a hand in the listener's experience, you know, and understand why people like certain things and why people don't. You know, someone who's like working on an album, like myself, someone who's like taking a lot of care into like, I know what the album's about. So like, if I'm speaking metaphorically or I'm speaking ambiguously, what I'm doing is I'm trying to like have an effect on how it's being interpreted by the listener, and almost working backwards from like, if I want the listener to feel like this, to have these emotions, to enjoy this song, how should I position my phrasing in my lyrics? How should I, whatever. You know, a great example of juxtaposition is Kurt Cobain. So I watched this thing about Kurt Cobain's songwriting, and they have like old pictures and like they have copies of Kurt Cobain's like old notebooks. And so he was writing lyrics, right? And he'd write a line, and next to the line, he'd label it like, and for someone who's like seen the notebook, I'm like paraphrasing here, I'm gonna get it wrong, but he labeled it like happy. So it'd be like an upbeat line, like an optimistic line, he'd label it happy. And then the next line would be labeled sad, and it'd be like a you know what I mean, like a more despondent line. Clearly his goal was to say something happy and then immediately say something sad to throw the listener off and invoke this feeling of like, which one is it? Or the oscillation back and forth between two emotions. And again, uniqueness. It makes it stand out. So like by saying a happy line and immediately contrasting with the sad line, you're creating something that's bigger than the sum of its parts. Because of the contrast of the sad line, the juxtaposition, it makes the happy line stick out more, and vice versa. So look, dude, so many people out there make good art, and sometimes I wonder, like, why you know, obviously there's all sorts of factors, fucking labels and Spotify payola and people shoving fucking their music down your throat. And, you know, to be fair, a lot of what we listen to is just algorithmatized and like curated by these fucking corporations and these billionaire executive shareholders for us. Nonetheless, right? Like with all that being said, it is fascinating, like what songs people are drawn to and what people enjoy versus what they don't. I think Kendrick's a great example. Look at Kendrick's discography, right? If you just change the order of the albums that he released, I don't know if he's the GOAT. I don't know if he's revered as the way that he's revered right now. Like, if he drops T-Pab instead of Section 80, and then drops Section 80 when he would have dropped T-Pab, do we look at Kendrick the same? Right? Do we say that he regressed? Do we even give T-Pab the credit it deserves as a masterpiece if that's his first piece of work? Does he even get as popular, right? Or did Good Kid, Mad City need to be pre-T-Pab, a more mainstream album, a more, not just like sonically, but topically, more digestible sentiments in the songwriting? Did he need that to get people on board, to get an open mind enough so that when he drops T-Pab, they're willing to receive it? So this matters because your magnum opus can go missed in the wrong context. And like, this is why cover art matters. This is why an intro matters. This is why an outro matters. Another example, when someone's writing like really abstract songs and like they're using a lot of metaphors, or they're very ambiguous with their writing and you don't really know what specifically they're talking about, and then suddenly they get super specific and they start talking about this traumatizing event in their life or whatever it might be, and you can tell exactly what they're talking about and they're describing it in great detail. It hits harder. It hits harder because it's surrounded by ambiguity, and that's what makes it a sobering moment. Because if I drop a project where every single verse is penned masterfully, but they're all equally as like hyper specific and talking about specific shit, people will appreciate it and love it, don't get me wrong. But it's going to be harder to have like a standout moment, a unique moment, because if nothing juxtaposes each other, then they all fall into the same category, even if that category is really good. Like, not everything is always being a unique thing. Sometimes you want things to like take the backseat and be a supporting act to something else. So that's when you don't juxtapose. So I'm not saying fucking go out there and juxtapose everything you do, but being aware of this mechanism, I think a lot, like I said in the beginning, a lot of people use this unconsciously. And like without fully knowing, they'll switch up their genre, they'll switch up their sound, and they won't have like put their finger on it, but they know in their heart that what they're doing has a purpose, and it's through juxtaposition. They're strengthening their previous work by releasing shit in a new genre, and they're also leveraging their previous work to make their new release be received better, because they juxtapose each other. So yeah, I feel like I have a lot more that I could say on this, and maybe I'll make another video. Again, like I said in the beginning, this comes from like a recent awareness that I've adopted of really like how my songs are being perceived and trying to manipulate that. And all this stuff, bro, like the juxtaposition of using this camcorder rather than like the DSLR. I think and I hope that shit makes me stand out a little bit. And whatever, sometimes I don't know what to do with these videos because I literally show up with no notes and I'm rambling, and I feel like I have like something relatively like profound and maybe useful, maybe profound isn't the right word, but useful for other artists, and can like give them kind of like a light bulb moment, and be like, oh, okay, that's the thing that I've been using to my advantage, that's the thing that is why I like consuming certain artists, etc., etc., etc. And now I can like use this mechanism consciously, but I also just ramble, and I don't know if this is going to be useful for anyone, because it's not like this is a regimented, bullet pointed fucking speech here. This is just me throwing a bunch of words at you and hoping that they're received. Think about a beat drop, right? It's like, it's cutting out the fucking drums for the sake of juxtaposition. That is what a beat drop is the juxtaposition between a very bare beat with no drums, and then finally the drums come in and the bass is really heavy. The harder the drop is the bigger the difference, the more juxtaposition between the bridge prior to the drop and the actual drop itself. This is one of those things for me that's like when you hear a new word and you start seeing people using it all the time. Juxtapose yourself from other people. Juxtapose yourself from yourself. Challenge yourself. And make fucking good art. And like be conscious of these little things and these little tools and implement them into your regimen. And don't just make art about some fucking like rigid practice of just constantly getting better all the time. But also, don't fucking always just have fun, you know, like challenge yourself, be ambitious, and like get frustrated because you can't figure things out. Go to the beach and bring the studio with you and the camcorder, talk a bunch of nonsense, continue using your words over and over to try and find a way to say what you have to say better, but fail miserably. Stop complaining that other people are the reason why you're slept on, right? Like, if you're someone like me and you make the best fucking shit that's ever been made and you're not like revered for it or even looked at as like a professional musician, it's easy to get resentful and it's easy to get bitter and it's easy, like, look bro, some of this shit's real. Like, you get in someone's car and they're just playing whatever the fucking shit is on Rap Caviar. Like, some people genuinely have horrible taste. Some people don't put effort into curating their taste. And some people are just a victim to these fucking monopolies that decide what they should listen to. That is not an excuse for you. Like, you can't just scapegoat off of like, oh, the listeners don't know what good music is, so it's their fault that I'm not popping. Look, bro, two things can be true. Sometimes the listener doesn't know what good music is. It's also your job to show them. Like, that's what the best artists did. Is like they made something fucking not cool and they made it cool. You know what I mean? They turned something from underground to mainstream. I get it. This shit sucks and it's the hardest thing in the world. It's one of the hardest career paths ever and it's soul sucking and it's all these fucking things. But like, if I just view myself as a victim to those circumstances, I'm going to hate my life. So I have taken it as a challenge to like, okay, you think that I need the high quality camera to like get views on YouTube? Watch. You think that I need to post gimmicky TikToks all day? You think that I even need to have a TikTok to get on? Watch. You think that I need to make mainstream shit in order to get on? Watch. You think that because I'm weird, because I'm eclectic, because I'm reclusive, because I don't do things the way that the algorithm is promoting so that you can build a career off of this shit, that it's not going to work out? Watch. Anyone who's watching this video that cares about shit that they make should look at how hard it is and how much people suck at like supporting artists as a challenge to be so fucking good that they can't ignore you. And this isn't just the merit of a song, like we just talked about. This is juxtaposition, this is presentation, this is manipulating every single thing about what you do and being so intentful that it can't not work out. This is making sure that you're not a victim to the harsh circumstances around you and that you're leveraging them to challenge yourself and grow as a person and as an artist. Stop fucking complaining, do what needs to be done, and if it doesn't work out, then instead of blaming external shit, ask yourself what you could have done. And if the song's really good and you couldn't have done anything to make the song better, how could you have juxtaposed that song? How could you have changed the context, changed the song before it, changed the song after it, changed the cover art, changed the Instagram post you used to promote it? Like the Kendrick and Baby Keem thing. Like, if Baby Keem's arc right now is slowly getting more emotional because all of his work is so like bolsterous and so like braggadocious that when he gets like at some point his fans are going to get tired of that. So you see him slowly working more emotion into his songs to juxtapose that. Kendrick has been the opposite. Tyler's been the opposite. They drop all these like works that they put a lot of thought and effort into, and then Kendrick drops GNX. Tyler drops Don't Tap the Glass, where they're like clearly just having fun, and that works because of how it juxtaposes the rest of the discography. So again, stop complaining that your Don't Tap the Glass or your GNX isn't working, and put out your TPAB. You know what I mean? Put out your Igor so that you can make the fun shit, and you can't, you know what I mean? Like find ways to empower yourself, take responsibility for where your career's at, and fucking juxtapose everything you do. What? I'm out.